Good evening, everyone. Something all quite an official sounding, but yeah, not to be too official. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to welcome you to this evening's launch. And in case anyone doesn't know why, does anyone not know why they're here? Does anyone wandered into this cafe hoping for something to eat or drink? No, well, we're here tonight to celebrate someone who's no stranger to me. I could do a very long introduction because I've known this person literally all of my life. But it is my sister Tamara Aurora, who has, I guess, followed in her mother's footsteps and become a writer. Yeah, we're here to celebrate the release, the launch of her first book, not the last, this don't make the video, so her first book, Growing Pains. And we will have some copies later on for you to get a hold of as well. Just this is a celebration because it's been a long time kind of in the works and Tamara's been able to publish it and produce it herself. And so what we're going to do tonight is a little bit of an introduction, some questions about the book, but some performances as well of some of the poems within the book, and also a guest performance. I won't reveal that yet. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Tamara to the stage.
Hello everybody, thank you so much for coming out this evening. And as Ashley said, I kind of hinted, this book has been written and self-published, and I wanted to celebrate not just the fact that the book is out, but also that it's been a lesson for me that, you know what they say, you can do anything you want, anyone can do it, you really can, to see this actually here. So I wanted this evening to be a celebration of that for all of us and an encouragement as well. A little bit about where the book came from. So I didn't set out to do this, as Ashley said, I'm following in our mother's footsteps, but I was just being my usual techie self, and I did a course on ebooks and thought, let me have a go. And I'd written a couple of poems, as you do, as you do, whatever a poet does, but growing up and trying to handle a couple of poems, and I thought, I'll make an ebook with a poem in it just to practice what I've been learning. And thought, I wrote a few here and there, let me try and put 3 or 4 together and share them with family, send it to my mum and dad and siblings. And that must have kind of clicked something of the creative juices, and suddenly ideas for poems started coming and I started writing, and actually you're getting quite a bit now, and okay, let's do this. And the ebook came from there, and the lady who's here, the friend who's here, said, I want a print book, I don't want the ebook, and I thought, yeah, let's do this. And that's where Growing Pains came from. So it's a journey from childhood, and the poems go right up to adolescence, the whole journey up to where we are now. So there's a few parenting towards the end. So I'll share a few from those different sections throughout the evening. And I'm going to start with one that is one of my earliest memories. When I was 3, we moved to St. Lucia for 3 years for my dad's job. And so most of my early memories are from there, not Manchester, where I was born. And so one of those early memories is a big tree that we had outside in the yard that was kind of a curved thing that you could go and climb inside, and it was a ready-made den. So this would be my playhouse, it would be my place for dolls, all sorts. And so this first poem is about that memory, and it's called Playtime. Curled up in a mango tree, its shape a perfect dome. Only 6, I'm running free in my living pretend home. Its shape a perfect dome as I perch among the branches of my living pretend home, where imagination dances. As I perch among the branches, the games are never ending, where imagination dances like my limbs ever ascending. The games are never ending in this world of make-believe, like my limbs ever ascending, and I never want to leave. In this world of make-believe, only 6, I'm running free, and I never want to be curled up in a mango tree. So don't be alarmed for anyone who maybe has read the ebook that I'm reading in the section on childhood, the first 3 poems in the book. It's not that I'm going to go through the whole thing. So the next poem is also from St. Lucia. And I think this one's pretty self-explanatory, but it's about a time I was quite upset with my parents and decided it was time at the tender age of 6 to go it alone. So this poem is called Houses with My Hand. Once I, a child, deeply frustrated by restraint or reprimand, in defiance ran outside, stamped my feet on dust and sand. I will show them, I decided as I trembled to the bone. I don't need their rules at all. I'll make a house here of my own. Mine made up, I got to work, sat cross-legged on the ground. The house needs bricks. What can I find to make them with? I looked around. There's dust aplenty, so I started to collect it with my hand. As my pile grew, I exulted in the revenge that I had planned. But its sweetness soon grew bitter as I began to take on board. A single brick would need more dust than this whole garden could afford. I should be older now and wiser, but I still don't understand. But still I sit and try to build up my own houses with my hands. And so the last one from this sort of section, the book is kind of subheaded with these sections and kind of a progression. And the last one is from a bit later, once we moved back to London. And I and my best friend at the time found a new hobby that went on for days on end and involved a poor victim who you'll find out about. And so this one is an apology to that young man who I've not seen since I was about 9 years old. So I have no idea where he is, but the apology is him anyway. His name is Sona. So this poem is called Sona and Sorry. You were just a boy back then, but we were only girls, best friends, 2 years younger and apparently a little less mature. We saw you one spring day after a happy time of play, stood motionless, like all the kids, awaiting the second bell. Then you did it, pulled a grimace, a wry, contorted, warped face, and our childish minds delighted at spontaneous slapstick fun. Perhaps that was the last time you enjoyed a peaceful playtime. From then on, we chased you every day, begging you'd do it again. I suspect you did not realise a quick repeat of those first crossed eyes would have appeased your young pursuance and would have left you well alone. Instead, you fled us daily, with intense frustration mainly, while we carried on enamoured with our Catch the Year 6 game. Those days are now far distant, but since we were so persistent, I hope it's better late than never to say I'm sorry for your pain. So I'll do 3 more poems in this section. So this is now moving on to poems more sort of in towards late adolescence and going into early adulthood. And then after that we'll have a good break for something a bit different. So the first one of these adolescent poems is when I was about 18 years old. Between secondary school and university, I decided to go and spend the summer in Spain to try and get my Spanish up before I went to university and studied it full time. So this is an experience that I and one of my friends, who was my housemate, out there, both Brits, and we were among the group of friends who lived together. So this is something that happened to us one day in Santander. So it's loosely based on a true story, but the punchline is very true. En la Cuesta. Striding up the Cuesta in Santander. Shopping bags only, but we don't care. It's a gorgeous day, and the weather's fair, and we love this city. Halfway up, and then he appears, We look at him both wary. He confirms our fears. Hello, lovely ladies. How are you, my dears? You're both looking pretty. My friend springs into action while I watch, amazed. We're busy. He won't take it, but she isn't fazed. Keeps cool, looking forward, not an eyebrow raised. But he's not leaving, is he? Well, then give me your numbers if you're busy now. Ain't no problem. We'll chat later. I'm here anyhow. It's this chance to meet up that we can't allow. It would be a pity. If you won't take a hint, then she'll make it clear. Gaze still fixed forward. Right, my friend, look here. We don't want to chat now. Our numbers won't be shared. And we're always busy. This poem is called Manuel. On my year abroad, I split the year, but the first half of the year I went to Peru and I was volunteering with an NGO. So the first thing I was doing while I was out there was helping out in a children's centre in a deprived area. And there was a young boy there in the class that I was with. I wasn't one of the teachers, but I was just helping out in the classroom. But there were some children, and there was 3 children in the classroom, and one was 4, and the others were a bit older. And I was absolutely amazed at the intelligence he was showing. So we were trying to do some sums for the older ones that were kind of, we thought, above his head, and they didn't quite get it, and he was just quietly saying the answers under his breath, and we realised he's got it, he knows it. And so that really shocked me. But one day he just started screaming in the middle of the classroom for no reason. And the teacher couldn't do anything with him, didn't know what the matter was. But on another day I had him doing kind of a colouring activity, and he was just busy chatting to himself, you know, little childlike chat. And then in the middle, I just suddenly tuned in to what he was, you know, quite chirpily saying, and then my dad was hitting my mum, and my mum was crying, and it just sort of clicked, the incident we had earlier. So this poem is called Manuel, and it's dedicated to that little boy. He's now a lot older. Manuel. An astonishing spark of genius, hidden in a 4-year-old bundle. Broken layers, torn up in the very home that should have displayed them as treasure. A troubled parcel of eye-watering potential, facing impossible odds. I wanted to adopt you, to whisk you away, take you to my land, hope and glory, and feed that spark, to show you, teach you, watch you grow, see your eyes open at the world in wonder, to make you forget, to see you smile, to make it better. Guilty, knowing deep down that would have been worse. I prayed for you, sighed for you, told your story. Where are you now? Defying probability, shining in some university hall, sights set on med school, broadcasting, writing, accountancy, science, or Congress, or planted in some Sarah's gloomy internet cafe, playing the pain away, confirming the stats, punishing the next generation, repeating the cycle. Okay, so this poem, I don't want to give too much away in the intro, so I'm going to try and give you kind of clues rather than anything else. So this one is, the key to this is a reminder that my name would have been Bloom at the time that it was written, and that Mum, being a poet, might have been known to some of the other poets, so that might be the clue to what was going on in this poem. If not, you can attack me afterwards for being descriptive. It's often happens if I've got anything to tell you. And it's called Graduation. There I am, sat in the crowd, a big crowd, a couple hundred students, or maybe. And there he is, up on the stage, the poet, ready to receive an honorary degree. He gives a speech. It's a good speech. And recites a poem. My family know it well. We chuckle about it around the dinner table whenever the potatoes are really hot. Takes his seat. It's our turn. The moment we've worked for nearly 4 years. The first person is called, don't know these names, goes up, shakes hands, takes a scroll, crosses the stage. More names, more people. More names, more people. More names, more. Oh wait, she's on my course. Goes up, shakes hands, takes a scroll, crosses the stage. Not long now, time to stand up. Wait in the aisle, inch forward, slowly. I'm by the stairs now. These ones are my classmates. Person in front of me goes up, shakes hands, takes the scroll, crosses the stage. There, my name, up the stairs. Don't trip. Didn't trip. Oh no. My parents are in the front row. They look so proud and happy, grinning from ear to ear. Shake hands, take the scroll, smile at parents, across the stage. And then it happens. He jumps up, intercepts me, shakes my hand vigorously, nods with delighted, enthusiastic smile. The crowd gasps, amazed. Later on, friends and lecturers accost me, interrogate me. What did he say to you? Who? The poet. What did he say? Oh, congratulations. He said, congratulations.
How are you all doing? I feel like I'm reliving these memories as well. We're going to have also something different while Tamara catches up. We have a special guest poet. No prizes for guessing who that poet is. It's a lot of the inspiration for tonight. And I feel like you're all sitting down a bit too comfortably. I feel like we need to get you involved, and I think you know what that means. So can we welcome to the stage Valerie Bloom?
You. How many of you speak Jamaican? One. Okay. Well, thank you again for coming. And Tamara has asked me to do a poem called Sandwich. Some of you might know it, some might not. Well, it's a poem that's written partly in Jamaican. Usually when I do Jamaican poems, I do a little introduction. And so Ashley has asked me to do that introduction, so I'm going to do that for you now. And that involves you. So what I'm going to do is teach you a bit of Jamaican, those who don't know Jamaican. And so, if you don't know, Jamaican is a language that was made up very quickly because during slavery people were told, people who came from Africa were told they couldn't speak their own language, so they had to pick up the language as they went along of the European slave owners. And in the process, they made new languages, and the way they did that was they took most of the words from the European language, some words from West Africa, where they mainly came from, and they put them together to form a new language. But the way the words were mainly European, but the grammar was West African. So what I'm going to do is give you some of the words, because in Jamaica, the language was a mixture of English and West African. So I'll give you some of the words, and you can repeat the words, and it's easier for you to remember. So, as I usually do in parts of, we'll start with parts of the body, and in English we say I. In Jamaican we say yai. Can you say yai?
Yes.
And we don't say one yai and two yais because we don't add s or es. We want to make plural, so we need to add them. So we say your yai and your yai them. Or else we put a number in front of it and we say one yai, two yai, three yai, four yai, and so on. Now when you cry, in English you cry tears, in Jamaican you cry yai water.
Yai
water.
We sound so much broader than in English. So in English we say nose, in Jamaican we say nose. And these are not nostrils, they're your nose hole. These are your yes, and in there that's your yes hole. And if a Jamaican says to you, your yes hole too hard, it means you're very obstinate and you don't listen when people talk to you. If you have a word that starts with H in English, in Jamaican you talk with H. So instead of hair we say instead of head we say instead of happy we say happy. Instead of hand we say hand. No, we don't. The other thing we do in Jamaican is if you have two consonants together at the end of a word, you drop the last consonant. So instead of hand, we say hand. And mouth will be mouth. And teeth will be teeth. Right? If you have a word that starts with TH, you do two things. If it's THE, you change the TH to D. So instead of them, we say and then would be if it's TH and something else, then you drop the H. So through becomes true. And thunder becomes thunder. The word for girl is gal. Boy is boy. Child is picnic. Cat is puss. Dog is dog. Owl is patu. Mouse is mus. There are some words which are not words, they're just sounds. So if you want to say yes, you say or If you want to say no, you say or If you want to say who do you think you are, you say them. And if you want to say fancy that, you say all right, that's enough of that. So Sandwich is a poem about a boy who's going on a school trip. And we used to go on school trips in Jamaica. We used to live right in the center of Jamaica in a place called Clarendon, in a little town called Frankfield. So when we went on school trips, we'd either go to Kingston, the capital, or we'd go to the beach, and it's a long way away. So it's a whole day. We had to wake up really early and get there to spend the whole day. We used to love to go to Kingston because then after we'd go to the factories. And if we went to the ice cream factory, we'd get big tubs of ice cream free. And if we went to the chocolate factory, we'd get big bars of chocolate free. And if we went to the sweet factory, we'd get big bags of sweets free. And if we went to the rum factory, we'd get big bags. So this boy is going to go on the school trip, and he's going to take a sandwich like everybody else. He didn't grow up in Jamaica. But his grandmother, who comes from Jamaica, thinks it's a really bad idea. At the end of each of the verses, there's the word sandwich. So when I do that, I'd like you to say sandwich. Can we have a round of applause? Sandwich. We're going on a school trip today. The whole class going to Whitney Bay. I taking my bat and ball with me to play beach cricket. And let me see. I mustn't forget my new frisbee. And teacher said to bring a sandwich. She said to bring a waterproof map. And change her clothes in a knapsack, or it's bound to rain, she guaranteed. And half of it will end up in the sea. And we mustn't forget any of it. Teacher said to bring a sandwich. She said we can bring a can of drink. So I can bring some fizzy orange up there. Some gobstoppers I can share with you. And everybody else probably. An apple and an orange, and I definitely won't forget to bring a sandwich. I asked the mother for some bread, some butter, lettuce, and some cheddar cheese. Don't want nothing more. And I just heading for the door when I bump into my granny Lenore, and she take away me sandwich. She said, don't know what your mother thinking about. How she could make a growing child go out with one little sandwich alone to eat. Don't you worry, child. In this basket I have corn, chicken, and jerk meat. You don't need to take a sandwich. I said to her, you don't understand. I can't take all of them things, Gran. Everybody will laugh at me. She said, I make your favorite fricassee. I said, Gran, teacher specifically said that we must bring a sandwich. But she not listening to a thing we say. She walks past me, and then she bring out a bowl of rice and peas. A whole hard old bread, if you please. I was down on the floor on my hands and knees begging, give me back me sandwich. Then Gran take out a thermos flask. I shut me eye, afraid to ask, but I wondered what else she would have produced. She said, I'll make you some nice sour something. So give me that fizzy nonsense. That's no use. And she'd take it just like this.
Sandwich.
I said, Gran, you have enough to feed the whole class there. She said, that is right. You must learn to share. I make something special for your teacher too. And she take out a bowl and callaloo. I asked myself, what am I going to do? I only want to take a
Sandwich.
Well, no matter how me beg and plead, she was like a mad wolf on stampede. So with chicken and rice and hard dough bread, me heart and foot them heavy like lead. I waved goodbye to my street cred and left without me.
Sandwich.
All day long I tried to pretend I didn't know that basket. But in the end, lunchtime come and we all gather around, spread some blanket on the ground, and everybody settled down to open up their
Sandwich.
Teacher said, what have you got there? I pretend I didn't hear. But that basket wouldn't go away. So I opened it and started to pray that they wouldn't laugh too loud when I display what I bring instead of.
Sandwich.
Well, everybody I start pop out. My friend Lee started to look him out. So I asked them if they all want some. They looked for me like some dumb, and in no time we finished every crumb and then all forget them.
Sandwich.
When teacher said, thank you, grandmother, for us, I feel so proud and nearly bust. She said, that was a really super meal. Everybody said, yeah, that was well cool meal. And you don't know how glad I feel that I didn't bring a
Sandwich.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Helen. And Frankie is my favourite poet. Obviously, there's a bit of a bias. So the next three poems, and then the next three poems are kind of four actually. The next four poems are things that are not so much a part of my life, but social issues or things that have jumped out at me, or things I wanted to write about, even other people's stories. And then we'll have a short break for Q&A, and then I'll finish with three final poems on motherhood, parenthood. So the first one of this next section is called R.I.P. And yeah, just one of the issues that were in the poem that goes through quite a lot, and one of them really struck me, and sometimes that's where a poem comes from, where there's something that just wants to get out, and it grew from there. So this is R.I.P. Rest in peace, Emmett Till. Rest in peace. How can I rest in peace when my face is all maimed? Rest in peace, roses all. Rest in peace. How can we rest in peace when our people were shamed? Rest in peace, Karski Yan. Rest in peace. How can I rest in peace when my voice was not heard? Rest in peace, soldier child. Rest in peace. How can I rest in peace when I can't be returned? Be calm and still, fleeing ones. Be calm and still. How can we sit and be still when our jungle was ploughed? Share your truth, people wronged. Share your truth. How can we share our truth when no talking is allowed? Flee toward, you here trapped. Flee toward. How can we flee when nobody will open our jails? Be released, nameless one. Be released. We only can truly be free the day justice prevails. So similarly to the last ones, this one again was brought out of a single issue that was playing on my mind, and this actually started years and years ago in school when we read Is It From the Footbinder? Some books of recognition, and it was just shocking to me some of the things that I read in there. So this poem sprang out of that and touched on other issues. Skin deep. When the woman who shuffles and hobbles unbroken, rotting, putrid bone, is sexy. When to pee, meaning 15 minutes of 1 drop, 2 drop, burning agony, spells purity. When the skin of her legs, lips and chin must be plucked like the flesh of a dead fowl that's roasting, back arched through inches of forced constant tiptoe, body shaped by the wire of the clothes it's thrust into. Lead and mercury exchanged for parabens, that same glow. In all honesty, perhaps the reality is it's time to revise our perception of beauty. So this one I'm going to read for reasons that may become apparent why I haven't learned this one. So everything that's not, a conjunction or something in this poem was taken from the back of one single item of one single beauty product. So it's not a stretch of the imagination. And it's called Anti-Aging. And it says, aqua, water, and squalane, cyclohexasilixane, then some cetyl alcohol, add phenolphthalexanol, isobutane mannitol, paraffin liquidum, mineral oil. Then calcium pantothene sultonate with sodium hydroxide glycerol stearate, drometriazyl trisoloxane coumarin plus methylparaben chlorophenicin, Cl15985 yellow 6, cyclodextrin, sorbitan tristerate, and some glycerin. Disodium EDTA hydroxyl pamitoyl sphingadiene. That's what I'm putting on my skin. And the last one from this section is called United, and it's got nothing to do with football, so sorry Ashley and anyone else who's a United supporter. It's actually, you'll be surprised to know, after the American airline company. And this is somebody else's story. This person was a stranger. I kind of gave you a bit of a background as to where the book came from, and when I was trying to actually get the ebook published, I looked up some more courses online, and I really enjoyed one of these courses on ebook publishing and followed the author on Twitter. So this would have been about Christmas 2020. And so when I looked her up, her first post was so long, and there were 27 tweets. And my initial thought was, oh, why do people write a whole long essay on Twitter? The idea is short messages. And then I actually started reading it and thought, oh my goodness, this is a really touching story, and it stayed in my mind. And so I've written this poem about her experience, and this is for Anne-Marie Concepcion, and it's called United. A woman is struck by a bolt of grief, like lightning, unexpected, a single SMS bearing news that will forever change the shape of her world as her flight taxis onto the runway. She needs to rewind, she needs to get off. Her tightly fastened belt is unbuckled. A strapped-in stewardess, eyes wide with shock, gesticulates to reverse her approach. She ignores, continues regardless, leans close and chokes out the words through the material of a COVID-compliant face mask. Please, my mother, is there any way I can get off? An air hostess who cared. A pilot who said yes. A cabin full of passengers who sent sympathy with their eyes. A crew member offering tissues. A whole team condolence. Colleague after colleague who checks she'll be all right. It is not the tale of Christmas cheer you hope to hear, but compassion from a company or a captain in time of crisis, still in silence.
We get distracted by the photo taking, but as Tamara said, we want to have a time of just like Q&A, whether it's about the poems, whether it's about the journey of actually writing the book, or anything in general, except embarrassing stories about everybody and all that stuff. But yeah, did anyone have a question to kick things off? I know I have a couple. Yes.
Covering them. I was very emotional about that part of that. RIP. Wow. Could you explain more about the background of it? Yeah, that would be really interesting.
So RIP actually started with Ashley sharing some videos and video series about some of the background to the racial issues in the US, and sharing stories from kind of the 50s-ish and things that were going on there. And so that's where I really first discovered about what happened to the young 14-year-old boy called Emmett Till. And the line from the beginning of the poem just was in my head, and it grew from there. Some of the other issues, Roses All, that's kind of looking at the Spanish Civil War. Hispanics was my background, so the Roses and 13 young women and how they were treated, what happened to them. And yes, some of them, Karski Jan, the next one is about a book called The Story of the Secret State by Jan Karski, who was a young Polish agent in the secret underground there. So they're all very different, situations, but similar themes of injustice and things that shouldn't be. And we kind of say the nice platitudes, but the real situation's still there.
It's really helped because I thought it was about Jamaica.
Any other questions? Yes. Yeah. Can you tell us about the artwork on the front cover as well?
Actually, the artist and photographer. Any questions about artwork? I will be asking one, but he knows the full story. He hasn't rigged it so that all the answers, all the questions go back to us, thanks to my brother, by the way. But this one really is. I asked Ashley for ideas with him being a book illustrator, and among his other things. And he suggested a line drawing, and he, in 10 seconds, did a quick example of one with some images from online. And me, part of the self-publishing route was not wanting to spend lots of money on lots of different things and trying to do it all myself and always wanting to learn. So you can see that as a positive or a negative, but I think there's both sides to it. So I took his idea, and so I used a photo I've taken and a photo of me, and you traced over those to the iPad for the line drawing. So I'm not an artist. I'm very happy with how it turned out, but that's thanks to someone's tutelage.
You are an artist.
Artist now. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Congratulations. What advice would you give yourself starting off on this project from where you are now, the experience you've learned?
Thank you. That's a thought-provoking question. In case anyone didn't hear it this side, what advice would I give myself now? It's not exactly an answer to the question to start with, but I would advise my younger self to start writing more, because doing it now, I kind of wish I'd got into it more. I've loved it. I've loved the journey. And I would give this advice to myself and to anyone. People often think that writing poetry is just something that only certain people can do, and those people, just the first time they picked up a pen and paper, they started writing and the poem flowed out, and that's what happens every time they write. And it's something anyone can do, but it's not writing a poem and realising it's terrible and throwing it in the bin and saying, I'm not a poet. It's just keep going. Yes, get ideas. I've been blessed with input, and thanks to my sister and my mum who were having writing sessions and let me jump in with them. But that gave you that feedback, to have someone to look at it, and when someone says that doesn't work, and it's your baby because that's the way you wanted to say it, listening to them, because when you look back at past drafts, you realise they were absolutely right. And yeah, making time. If it's a side project, if you have another job on the side, that really helped. Having one day a week, we've got those hours that are scheduled in, but I know I'll be doing it. Otherwise, I'd still have 3 poems today.
Maybe talk about a couple more questions?
You've answered this slightly in your previous question, but one, would you have ever imagined that you would have had a book? And 2, can you remember the first poem that you ever
One, no, I still can't imagine that as a published book. And so that really was why it was my lesson of, yeah, go for it. It's possible. And two, the first poem I ever wrote, I have no idea, but the earliest poem that was kind of the one that ebook with one poem in started off, is still in there. And it's called Ammonite, and it was based on a poem I read as a child by Burley Doherty, who's a brilliant children's writer as well, called The Snake Stone. And I wrote a sonnet based on that, which means nothing if you haven't read the book. But yeah, that one I still know. I don't know why I learned it, but that's the earliest poem I remember.
Any last questions? I did have a question actually. Just obviously you don't have to go into a lot of detail, but what was, you talk about self-publishing, what was that journey like? How did you actually get to the steps of having that physical book?
Self-publishing involves a lot of Googling. Okay, in a bit. To say to you, I don't know, that could be dangerous. And so, yeah, there was a lot of learning curves, finding things out, looking at things online, and calling, printers and finding out how things work, looking at, the big leaflets they put in. So it involved that commitment to say, because I want it to be done and I want to do it myself, I'm going to put the time into finding out how it works. So there's a lot of elements to it, but it's not really as complicated as, it's not impossible, clearly. And I found it fun and enjoyable, and then you go away with a lot of knowledge and tools after that I could say, even if somebody else I know wanted to do a book, I'd be willing to support them in that because of what I've been able to do.
Awesome, thank you. I guess before we hear from the third generation tonight, do you want to finish off with a couple more poems about parenthood?
Thank you, yeah. Again, that wasn't a planted segue or anything. So, the first poem on parenthood is called Etiquette. I won't say much about this one, just lodge into the side. Etiquette. I pick up his orange peel and he rushes in.
Don't worry, Mama. Yeah, it's in the bin.
Oh, I think. What a polite young child. Perhaps we're not doing so badly after all. So he takes the skins from my hand, every last bit, walks up to the bin and shouts,
Now open it!
Thank you. Well done, Ethan. I don't know if that's what you wanted to say, but thank you very much, Ethan. So the next one is called Motherhood. It's not the one after, it's called Motherhood, they're on the same page. The next one's called The Baby. There is a baby at our house. Don't ask me if he's cute, for I've never seen him. Don't inquire what he's called. He has a new name every day. We are told his antics and his preferences. The taps have run, hot water spent, so a little man may bathe him. Telltale bottles of bubble bath and packets of Epsom salts found open on the bathroom floor. I do not like his baby. He's a harbinger of mischief. But often, as I try to reprimand my child for some misdemeanor, I'm confronted with the now familiar plea, eyes wide in indignant innocence. The baby made me do it. And the last poem of the evening is called Motherhood. Motherhood. He lies on his bed. I cuddle him. My hand is cupped under his ribcage. I cannot work out which is his heartbeat and which is mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Can we get another round of applause?
Thank you, Ashley. I would just like to say a big thank you to everyone for coming out and supporting. It's really great to see you, and I hope you've enjoyed. It's been really lovely to share the journey and the poem. I also want to say a huge thank you to the Hill Station Cafe and to Kristen and the whole team. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure working with them. So yes. Thank you very much as well for the supportive husband and supportive son, to all the family, Jodie and for the writing sessions, and inspiration and help from everyone, and thank you again for coming. And yes, there'll be time to talk, there'll be some light nibbles provided by the cafe.
Vegan or vegetarian.
Yeah, all vegan or vegetarian, so feel free, and yeah, we'll give you some books as well. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.